We'll get started then. So hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. My name is James Elsmore. I'm the Director of Island Innovation, and we are really excited to be recruiting for our third year of ambassadors for Island Innovation. This is a really exciting program for me. Island Innovation is a global program, and we want to really make these local connections. And it's great to also see so many of our ambassadors from last year taking part and hopefully being involved again. So please go ahead and say hello in the chat. Let us know where you're from. Anything else that would be helpful. And I'll hand over to our ambassador coordinator, Isabel Godoy, to say a few things.
Okay, hello everyone. Happy to see a lot of people join us today. I want to share with you a video. Let me see. Sorry. Yeah.
You see, we want to shape the new way to see an island
by helping to unleash and share hidden jewels in innovation shining brightly from islands around the globe.
While physical distance once limited us, Island Innovation has created a digital platform that will bring us closer to people around the world, which we are excited to present to you.
You can think of the Virtual Island Summit 2020 as a bridge, a catalyst to connect and to broker ideas, inventions, human resources, to promote sustainable development for islands.
This online event connects entrepreneurs, NGO leaders, industry experts, policymakers, and academics with the overarching aim to increase island prosperity,
enhancing development with various economic and social sectors and helping to create sustainable islands.
Our online community makes it possible to connect 10,000 plus individuals living across the globe.
With professionals offering a range of expertise to collaborate and network to produce tangible solutions.
Join us in this wonderful movement to create a sustainable future.
Sign up to join the Virtual Island Summit at www.virtualislandsummit.com. I can't wait to see you there.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Isabel. I love that. Love that video. I will now do a brief presentation to tell you a few of the basics about the program and what we hope to do in the next year. I'm not sure, Isabel, do we have any ambassadors that were going to join us to say something now? That might be a good time to invite Stephen if he's here.
Stephen, are you here? Stephen, yeah, I saw Stephen. Yeah, Stephen. Okay. So, Stephen, oh, we cannot hear you.
I'm just gonna unmute him.
Okay.
Now.
Yeah.
I got it now. Hi guys, my name is Stephen Snyder, and I have participated in the program over for the first Virtual Island Summit and then this last one. And I just wanted to encourage all of you to really participate in the program. It's a great organization that James and his team have built. One of the really great opportunities, as I'm sure these guys will sell it to you, is the ability to network with really like-minded individuals all over the planet. I really feel like I have connections anywhere in the world right now that I can reach out to and say, hey, I'm in your part of the world, and what are you working on? How can we work together? And then beyond that, there's a real opportunity to learn from so many other individuals. And to see how the stuff that they're working on can be applied to your own community. And then beyond, the personal things that you're getting out of this is a real opportunity to give back and highlight what great solutions are happening, what community development is happening, and to share that with people from really all over the world. So it was a really cool experience to participate in both of those and to discuss like what topics are really relevant to promote the session and share with my network and encourage my friends and family to learn more about island solutions and what sustainable development means. And yeah, I just think it's a really cool experience that all of you guys should definitely participate in. And if you have any questions about it, or if you want to connect with me, feel free to add me on LinkedIn, and looking forward to meeting all of you in the future.
Thank you so much, Stephen. Also, Stephen is the first ambassador of Island Innovation. So the next year will be the third year. I think that's good. He's really the ambassador of Island Innovation. So it would be great to connect with the Stephen and also with our network in order to continue creating this good network of ambassadors around the world and around the islands worldwide.
Fantastic. Thank you, Stephen, for being with us today. I am just going to go and share this PowerPoint with all of you. Okay, great. Can everyone hear me okay? Okay, so you've heard a little bit already about the program and about what we're trying to do. And I'll just tell you a few of the details, and then if you have any questions, please type them in the chat and we can answer them at the end. So the Island Innovation as an organization exists to build what we call digital bridges and connect rural, island, and remote locations around the world, particularly on the topic of sustainability and sustainable development. But when I say sustainability, I mean that in its broadest sense, so including economic, including society, and of course things like climate change and environment as well, but not just limited to climate change. And we see the opportunity that islands in the Caribbean, islands in the Pacific, islands in the north of Europe are obviously somewhat different, but there are certain commonalities that link them and bring them together. And this is a really interesting opportunity for us to bring together these exchanges. And that's what we want to do with the ambassador program. So these are some of the words that we had from our feedback survey from our ambassador program this year. And I think, as Stephen says, the most valuable part of participating is the opportunity to meet with other people from or working on islands all around the world. And we really did, as you can see from this chat, we have people here from Patagonia, from Caribbean, from Africa, from across Asia. So we have a really, in Europe, we have a really good range of people participating with us today. I see Guam in the chat as well, Tierra del Fuego, Sri Lanka, that's amazing. And so this networking and diversity is the strength, and this is what we hope you'll get out of it. As for the benefits of being an ambassador, beyond networking, we will have a one-year program. And in this program, you will have the opportunity to access training sessions every month to gain recognition and to showcase work happening on your island, but also learn from other islands to direct projects on your island. And specifically with the training sessions, there will be training sessions around, for example, social media and the work that we do with our program, but also training sessions on building innovative systems and to really enable you to get the most out of the program. And so next year, for 2021, we're planning to do a lot more than we have this year even to make this a stronger program. We'll encourage you to participate in our various events, campaigns, programs. This could be writing articles for our website, participating. Actually, next week we have a panel of 5 ambassadors from this year who will be taking place in a virtual conference that we're participating in. And so there'll be lots of opportunities, and we will also share opportunities that are sent to us with you that may or may not be useful for you and your community. Again, to really, the ambassador should be the bridge between your local community and this global network to help try and make it accessible and relevant. And of course, maybe Isabel, you can drop in the directory from this year. We'll have an online website directory that will feature all of our ambassadors from different islands, and that will be searchable. So people may contact you if they're looking to build a bridge with your specific island or specific project. And we'll be sure to give you a personalized recommendation letter or certificate if you need at the end of the program. In terms of responsibilities of being an ambassador, we do ask you to make a minimum requirement to be part of the program. So we will have 2 sessions every month that will be scheduled in advance. One will be more of a training or learning session, as I mentioned before, and another will be a networking meeting where you can get to meet other ambassadors. And we have some really cool programs to allow you to do that in small groups. We'll ask that you attend at least 70% of all of our meetings and trainings, just to make sure we have that minimum commitment, but we will make sure that there are at least 2 options each time. So you'll have an opportunity to join in your time zone to make sure that it's accessible for people in different parts of the world. We'll also have a hub program, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute, but essentially our hub program will be to create a local event that could be a physical event or a virtual event that specifically discusses the needs of your community. And we will be giving a program on how to create that type of program for next year based on our partners on several islands this year who did really successful hubs. And so again, this is a really good opportunity to help showcase your island to the world and bring other perspectives from outside to your island. And of course, although the Island Ambassador Program is this year going to be broader, so we're not just focused on the Virtual Island Summit, it will be a year-long program. The Virtual Island Summit is really our flagship event in September, and we'll really ask you to take part of that, give recommendations for speakers, and to participate in that event, and also invite your local community to participate. So the virtual hubs program, as I mentioned, this will be a big part of this. Don't worry too much about this. The hubs can be all shapes or sizes, and we'll give you the support that you need to be able to run one. A hub can be a really small event aimed at a smaller group of stakeholders, or we had some ambassadors have several hundred people in a session. And so we'll give you support and training on how to run those and make sure you have plenty of time to organize them next year. And for those of you this year who didn't get the chance to organize one, we'll make sure that you have the extra time needed to put that together. We'll also ask you to make a promotional video or do some kind of promotion to your local media, such as writing in a local newspaper to share information. And again, this is both to share the opportunity with the Virtual Island Summit and the Island Innovation Ambassador Network with your island, but also we want to showcase your project. So if you have something that you're involved with on your island that you think is particularly relevant and other people should know about, we want to help you tell the world about things happening on your island. So again, we'll be sure to help tell your stories as part of the Island Innovation Network as well. 2 other options as well. Well, I kind of mentioned telling people about the virtual summit. We'll give you the training there for newsletters, newspapers. If you maybe want to do a TV interview or radio interview, we'll help you learn how the best way of doing that is. And then we also have the sponsorship program. So this is completely optional, no pressure, but obviously the summit that we have is run on sponsorships. And so any ambassadors that do bring together any sponsors as part of the program, you will get commission on that. And we'll give you some training on how to approach sponsors, but again, that's completely optional. So the ambassadors program next year will have lots of different components. I'm really excited about it, and I know the ambassadors here from this year are really excited to participate again next year. We'll have a really good framework, really good, really planned out schedule this year, and Isabel will be fully in charge of that program to make sure that we have everything organized and planned out in advance. And make sure that you all benefit as participants, as well as contributing to this stronger international network. We'll have various communication channels. We'll make sure that you're all filled in on this, but again, so you can communicate with each other and to strengthen the ambassador network. As well as our Zoom program, we have another really cool program called Remo, which allows you to have small group meetups and communicate with each other on a very on a very friendly and casual level, which I think is more than Zoom does. So that will be great. And if you haven't used them before, the breakout rooms in Zoom are also a chance. We used them really well last year, again, to break up into smaller groups. So this is a two-way thing, and you get to talk to people as well as listen and learn from people. We want you to be engaged in all of those opportunities. So almost there, the last slide, but we'll have 4 phases through next year. So the Virtual Island Summit will take place in September. But as I said, we want this to be more of a year-long program that's spread out throughout the year without all being focused on September. So we'll make sure that you have the training and this kind of background phase for the first quarter of the year. Then in the second quarter, we'll be asking you to organize your hub events, doing them really before the summer in the Northern Hemisphere starts, April, May, June, July, to organize events that can then lead into the summit. Then we'll have asking you to build kind of local momentum, whether it's promotion in social networks or connection with the media on your island. And then after the summit, we'll be asking you, okay, we've had all this really good information. How can you apply that and how can you use that in your local context and make what can be an overwhelming amount of information accessible for your local community? So our deadline is December 5th. I know a lot of you have applied already, but Isabel, if you can drop the link to the application in the chat, just in case anyone has not applied yet, do make sure you apply, and you will hear from us later on in December once we've had a chance to go through the applicants. We're really excited to say we've had nearly 200 applicants already. So it's going to be a big program. We've had applicants from every continent. And so it might take us a while to work through those, but this will lead to a better program. And so with that, if you'd like to type any questions in the chat, me and Isabel would be happy to answer them. Thank you, everyone. So I'll just look at the chat now. You can see lots of people recognizing friends and having conversations, which is great. Hillary said, "Can you have more than one ambassador from an island?" Yes, absolutely. And in fact, we encourage that. We found last year that when people had a group of people or ambassadors from neighboring islands that they could collaborate with, it made things a lot smoother. And so we really hope there'll be multiple ambassadors from islands. And so don't worry if you want to tell other people in your island about the program. Don't worry, they're not going to be extra competition. We had, I think, 9 ambassadors from Trinidad and Tobago last year. So it's not necessarily going to be a problem having multiple people. Oh, well, my chat just exploded a little bit. So just give me a second to work through all these. Stacy said, will you provide these slides? Yes, we can send you these slides, Tracy. And also this session has been recorded. So we'll put the recording up available as well in case there's anything else that people want to view. Isabel's put the application form in there. Julie asked, what sort of local events would we be expected to organize? So we acknowledge that if you're on a small island with a few hundred people, you have a very different context to our ambassadors in Indonesia or the Philippines, large countries. So we're not going to be very prescriptive and say you have to do a program like this. We will help you create a framework that works in your local context. But for example, it could be a physical meeting with 20 people who are key representatives of organizations coming together in a community building, or it could be a virtual event. For example, well, maybe if you're okay to talk about it, Trish, to put you on the spot, if you're there, you could just share quickly a little bit about the virtual hub that you organized last year, if that's okay. I'll just have to unmute you.
Okay, yeah, no problem at all. Yeah, to be honest, we organized it at very short notice, but I think our advantage was, and this is what I would, our advantage was we were able to connect with the federation, with an island-wide body representing offshore islanders, and some of them were also members of a European body. So we basically just organized. It was a 2-hour event, and we just broke it down into 3 different themes. So I think really, like, to be honest, I think a 1-hour event is plenty to get you started. I would keep it really, really simple. It's a contact list. Pick people who are going to attract their own following, but also people who can contribute on something which other people can relate to. So we had somebody talking about, you know, sustainable waste project in Arranmore Islands on the west coast. We had somebody talking about community radio stations for offshore islanders. Things like that. And then we talked about innovation in tech as well, particularly broadband and connectivity. And we left plenty of time for discussion. So we had breakout groups, and then we tried to draw it all together as to what were people's top priorities. And they were things like sustainable jobs, housing, and broadband connectivity. And there was a lot of agreement. And we also tried to keep it quite informal. Like, you know yourself, it's not the same as being in a room. So my biggest fear was it was going to be a bit stiff and boring or something, but it wasn't really like that, because we kept within each section, we opened it for questions. And then, as I say, we had the breakout rooms. But I would definitely, you know, we possibly, as I said, we had 3 different sort of parts of it. We looked at 3 different subjects, but I would recommend for your first one, just maybe go for 1 hour, pick one theme that you think that most people are going to relate to, get it publicized, you know, at least a week beforehand, get everybody to get it on their social media, and get as many organizations on board who have members who can promote it for you as well. You may or may not get media coverage. We got a little bit of specialist media coverage, you know, from marine media, you know, environmental media, stuff like that. So don't rely on mainstream media, and you may not need it, but just use all the networks you have, and everybody's involved, use their networks. And
I think it's helpful, like you had a partner organization that came in for the events. And I think if you have a partner, or in your case, we had 2 Irish ambassadors that collaborated, I think that definitely helps. So it will really depend on the final ambassadors. If you're the only person from your island, you may want to team up with some neighboring islands. It will really just depend on your local context, but we'll give you plenty of support to think about how to do this kind of session. And I will say that the one that Trish organized was very good. We had a physical session. Who knows whether that will be possible next year. The original idea was that the hubs would be physical events happening in different islands to complement the virtual sessions happening with our virtual summit. Obviously, we don't know how realistic that is for next year. We did have a couple of islands that were COVID-free and were able to put together a physical event, which was great. The St. Helena Community College streamed the sessions for the week and had people coming in and out. So yeah, point is, don't worry too much about that. If you're thinking that can stop you applying, we'll help you run that, and if needed, you can team up with other ambassadors to do something.
Can I add in as well? I think the fact that we had a good mix of speakers, men and women, offshore islanders from the island of Ireland and from different regions of the island, it made, they all brought their own audiences with them, and that really, really helped. And the other thing is that everybody really enjoyed it. Like, the chat really got going, and by the time it was over, everybody wanted to do it again as soon as possible. And it was great. So we had James come in and speak at the beginning as well. So we were establishing a very firm, clear link with the Virtual Island Summit. And I suppose if I was looking at it for next event, I'd be trying to strengthen those links and maybe have a guest speaker that wasn't from an Irish island, maybe have somebody from another island, and look at concrete ways because in the end, it's about establishing connections. And yes, we brought a group together here to connect them to the summit. But in the longer term, I would like the next event to establish a very solid link with another island or another part of the world.
Definitely. And we had another group that I wanted to mention. I'm not sure if anyone is here from there. Is Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts. They actually had a whole committee that they put together before the Virtual Island Summit that they basically had divided and conquered. So they assigned people to different sessions, and then they came back after the event and wrote a report that basically said, here is all of this information. How do we apply that in the local context? And so our first workshop as part of the Ambassadors Program will be from the organizers of that group to show how they did it. And they just did it from a small local civic organization, and how they did that to actually make it applicable. Because we live in a world where there's so much information. The problem is not access to information, it's how do you use that and implement it. So definitely. I saw Andrew had also said in the chat, for example, could Guernsey, Jersey and Alderney partner? That would be ideal. A group of islands that are together, they could do a partner. I know that we had a group of the smaller islands in the Eastern Caribbean. There was a subgroup there, and they also collaborated on a project as well. It could even be political groupings. So islands that were UK overseas territories, which are in all different parts of the world. There was a subgrouping there, and there was some level of collaboration between those. So there could be different ways of doing collaboration. And again, we will facilitate all this. Prasad said, are there any tentative dates for ambassadors, the ambassador program? So right now, you don't need to worry too much. Obviously, the deadline is the most important one on the 5th of December. And then we will get back to you kind of ready to start in January. We'll make sure that you have our meeting dates a couple of weeks in advance, and that you have the dates, obviously, for the Virtual Island Summit in September. But those are kind of the key dates, and we'll give you a calendar in advance. Julie asked about topics and objectives. So we purposefully cover a wide range of topics. If you know the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs, there are 17 of those. Topics like energy, waste management, tourism, not a goal, but it impacts all the goals. Agriculture, oceans, conservation, etc., etc. So, so lots of different topics. Our way of thinking is that all of these topics overlap on some level. You can't talk about agriculture without talking about waste or energy or tourism. They all interlink, particularly on a small island. And so we want to make sure that we are connecting those different topics. Juliana said, if there is already existing ambassadors for an island, you can put people in, you will be able to put people in contact. So we'll have a completely new cohort of ambassadors in the sense that we'll be kind of starting again, but then some of the previous year's ambassadors have reapplied already, I know. So there may be new ambassadors, but if there are ambassadors that haven't continued, we can definitely connect you. And I see you're from the University of Malta, Juliana. You know, we had several partnerships with the University of Malta already, and obviously you're probably connected to the people we were working with there already, but if not, we can definitely connect you. Peter said, should events be in English? So the ambassador program itself will be in English, just because of the practicalities of running this program. We did have a subgroup in Spanish and another one in French, so people were able to communicate in those languages, and obviously we can facilitate that if there are other languages that there are groups available. But definitely the hub, encourage the hub to take place in a local language. So we had a hub in Indonesian happen this year. And again, the idea of this hub is that we as Island Innovation cannot really run an event in Indonesian, but having this local group that can makes this information more accessible on the local level. So Peter, in your case, being in Patagonia, would definitely encourage you to put together something in Spanish, and perhaps you can collaborate with your Chilean colleagues on the other side of the island as well to put something together. So, oh, Trish has got something.
Sorry, just very briefly on the language thing. And I think because of the fact, one of the things I loved about Virtual Islands Summit was the diversity and the cultural diversity. And we tried to have some Irish language in our event. Well, not we did. We did, because quite a lot of the offshore islanders would be native and fluent, Irish speakers. I mean Gaelic. So I think it'd be a really important part of the Island Summit that we are encouraging people to use their own language, that to maintain that diversity, that cultural diversity, and create linkages between minority languages in particular.
Yeah, and obviously in the Irish context is important because it's about a minority language, it's about preserving the language and the culture. But in other cases, it's about accessibility, that people may not speak English and we want to make sure that they're included as well. So definitely, again, open to making that suitable according to local needs. And we did have sessions in our Virtual Island Summit in Spanish and in French with translation into English. It's something we'd like to do more. The reality is that it's very expensive to have translators coming in, so it's not something we could do as much as we'd like. But we are exploring how we can support particularly Spanish and French, as we have members of our team in the Spanish and French speaking islands, but other languages as well. I know we had a member from Hong Kong this year, and she was really keen to do Chinese language things as well. So yeah, lots of opportunities there. So any more questions that Chris said, would you be open to adding automatic translation to the platform? Chris would love to. If we can do that in an affordable and useful way, would be absolutely very keen to do that, because we're all about accessibility. And I think what this network and what the virtual events allows is more accessibility. Obviously, geography is one of them. We have applications from some of the most remote islands in the world that don't have airports and take weeks at sea to get to, and yet they can participate through this network. But also people who are maybe single parents, who have kids to look after, people with disabilities. We want to make this as inclusive as possible. So if we can do that on the language level, that would be really, really great. Let's have a chat after this. I had a couple of questions. So one question that came up a few times was, can you apply if you're not currently living on the island? And definitely, as long as in your application you justify your island connection, it's really important that we have diaspora participating as well. They really have an important role for many islands. So you can definitely apply if you're not currently living on your island. And if you're not from an island but working in this space, we'd encourage you to apply as well. So it's open as long as you can justify that you are doing something connected to this work. Isabel, were there any questions that I missed or anything else that you wanted to say?
No, I just want to say that I have spoken with Lauren, so I think it would be nice to hear Lauren's experience as an ambassador. So please, can you unmute Lauren?
Oh, hang on. Where's Lauren? Yes?
Lauren?
Hello, everyone. Yeah. Do you hear me well?
Yeah.
So hello, everyone. Very nice to see you again, Isabel, James, and all the team. Thank you for having me today. Very interesting development of the program. My experience was very, very nice with Audrey. We were the two of us. We've been very, very much solicited by the press, the medias. I've even months after the event, I was solicited by TVs and press to testify about my experience in the event. Currently, I'm working in the translation, and I'm still on it as I'm speaking in French of the press release that has been done just after the summit, because everybody asked me about it, to have it in different languages, especially for press and media. So I'm working on it currently. Very soon it will be shared with all those interested. So yes, definitely I'm reapplying for this year event 2021. Having in mind that looking for sponsors will be very helpful for the organization, and this is what we have in mind at that moment. So and we are as well looking to interact more with French speakers in terms of translating things for them, make it accessible for them so they can be more interested than they are already. However, I hope we'll have more ambassadors as well. So this is a task I'm taking very seriously, to find a new partners and add to the team, to the Martinique team, and make sure that the ideas are well spread around. If I can help in any way at the event, and especially in the Caribbean, because we have very strong connections with our friends in the Caribbean. So that will be our pleasure to help with this. So yes, definitely a good experience, and I'm willing to have a step forward in this next year.
Okay, thank you so much, Laurent. Really nice experience, and I think it would be a good model for the French speakers ambassadors, the 2021. So, and
Sure.
also, I would like you to hear Phil from the Martha's Vineyard. If you can share your experience with working in the Martha's Vineyard project with us.
Yes. Hi, Phil Wallace from Martha's Vineyard. Yeah, I work with Bob Johnston, Doug Bates, and Jameson Isabel. I know you had a really meaningful conversation with that team. Yeah, we tried something out analogous to a pod. We had about 22 people on the island. We fanned out to anybody who wanted to join this group, and 22 people stepped up. We decided to pre-train them, do online together, and then offline debrief. And it was absolutely incredible. It got us all sort of pumped up, first of all, as an island. Second of all, we dove in and couldn't do all the sessions. So what was really efficient is you could pick and choose and then report back out. And then our team leader, Bob Johnston, sort of summarized it all. And this group is loosely almost a larger ambassador group. So I would say it was a good test drive, if you will, of this model. And it made us feel not lonely and isolated, but really part of the island community, and encourage a lot more conversation. So each one of us then went out, for instance, we heard about a ferry that was electrified at one of the islands. I can't remember whether it was, I think it was in the UK, but I can't really remember. And we brought that back to our steamship authority as a really practical thing that we'd like to do with our ferries. So it went into action really, really quickly. So that's our experience, and we hope to do more of it.
Thank you so much, Phil.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. And I think we're really excited that Bob, who, as you mentioned, led that team, will be delivering a workshop to our ambassadors this year to see how other organizations or other teams can potentially run similar programs, because you were really effective at building that change locally. And I also wanted to mention, Laurent, you're in Martinique. We recently recruited a new member of staff at Island Innovation from the French Caribbean, from your neighboring island of Guadeloupe. So that will also help us do more there as well. But I don't see any more questions coming in. I see that you all are getting active with the networking in the chat already, which is great to see all of those connections being made here. And what I'm really pleased about is to see the greater diversity of places joining with this session so far. So I think if there's no other questions, we'll wrap it up there. If you haven't already, make sure you send in your application, and we will be in touch. Thank you all for taking the time to join with us today. It was really nice to see all of your faces. And yeah, can't wait. This ambassador program this year is going to be a really great program, and we're excited for it. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful week, and we will be in touch. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.